Thank you. This is an incredible honor for me to be part of your Learning Congress. Earlier we saw the montage of some of the activities yesterday, and one of you said that it was a great day, but you were a little bit intimidated. You talk about being intimidated, trying to follow Joe Reagan, and what a great story, what a great friend, what a great job Joe does for this community. Tori, there's no way to follow Tori. What a great story, but really the chapter in Tori's life that will, as she said, have the greatest impact is being written now in her presidency at Spalding, and the great partnership that we're developing with Spalding and in dealing with some of the problems that we have as a community in the West End. The mayor, you heard his story as a businessman, entrepreneur, and bringing his vision to this community, and what great leadership Greg will bring to this community and continue to move us forward. Scotty, I've known a long time. Scotty's a graduate of Iroquois. You know, one of the things they say about Louisville, the first question you're asked is, where'd you go to high school? And so Scotty and my wife, I'm a little prejudiced, both graduates of Iroquois High School. And Scotty was at the University of Louisville, and you heard his great story. And then following me, of course, is the legend, Paul Horning. We were in New York last week for the Big East tournament, and one of our young faculty, first-year faculty, was with us, and we had a little downtime, and they were able to go to one of the Broadway plays, and they saw the new play entitled Lombardi, the story of Coach Vince Lombardi, and the faculty member came back and was talking about the play and how exciting it was, and said, you know, there were only 5 characters in the play: Coach Lombardi and his wife. And one of the characters was Paul Horning. And he said, Paul Horning from Louisville, Kentucky. And this faculty member had moved here from Dallas, Texas. And he said, man, I was so excited and you know, fell in love with the character Paul Horning. And so in the souvenir shop, they had these footballs that were signed. And he said, I bought one. And he said, I want to meet Paul Horning. And I want Paul Horning to sign that football. Can you help me get that done? And I said, sure, that's no problem at all. Paul and I are longtime friends, so as soon as I get done speaking, I'll try to introduce myself to Paul and see if he'll do that for me. But no, Paul has been a great part of this community and been very involved in working in different areas of the community, particularly in the Portland area, in helping us advance. So I'm a little bit, or I should say a whole lot, intimidated by being asked to address you. I've been asked to talk about partnerships, and so let me just sort of ramble a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about some of my background and talk a little bit about the university, and I think that by so doing you'll sort of see why partnerships are important to us. My roots in this community are very deep. My grandfather moved to Louisville, Kentucky in 1909 to attend the Louisville Presbyterian Seminary. He graduated in 1912 and spent his entire life in the ministry in Louisville at Beulah Presbyterian Church. My dad grew up in Fern Creek, Kentucky, lived in Fern Creek, Kentucky his entire life until passing away December 22nd of this past year. Mom was from South Central Kentucky, moved here when she married Dad. Mom and Dad were both long-time school teachers in the Jefferson County Public Schools. My wife and I are both graduates of the Jefferson County Public Schools. When I graduated from high school, and I'll put my plug in, my high school is Fern Creek High School. Very proud to be from Fern Creek. And when I graduated in 1966, I didn't even think about going to the University of Louisville. It was still, as the video said, a private school at that time. Tuition at the University of Louisville would have been $3,000 for me. I could go to a state school for $120 at that time. That was the tuition for the state school. So I went to another school, graduated, went in the Army, then did my graduate work, got a PhD in economics at another school that we don't mention much. There's about 70 miles east of here in Lexington, Kentucky. I get docked anytime I say their name at the university, so I don't say it. Then, as you often do when you're in the academy, you have to prove yourself. So my wife says she feels like an Army wife. We moved to Tennessee, Louisiana, moved back to Kentucky, moved to North Carolina, and then returned home a little over a decade ago. And it's exciting for us to be at the University of Louisville. It's exciting for us to be in this community and to see all the things that are happening in this community and to see the possibilities and see the opportunities that lay ahead for us. And we have got more that we can do, and we're all committed to doing that in partnership. Now, I am an economist, and as I said, I've been at a number of different schools. I've also had the opportunity on 2 occasions to work in public policy positions with the state of Kentucky. And on my first public policy job was I was the state's chief economist and had the opportunity to learn a lot about the state economy. My second public policy position was as state budget director and the governor's chief policy advisor. And in that role, I had the opportunity to work on some legislation that, in my view, is the most important legislation in the history of the University of Louisville, and that was the Post-Secondary Education Reform Act of 1997. As I said, the University of Louisville was a private school. The University of Louisville's roots go back a long way to 1798, when 8 community leaders, 8 people in this community, came together to say that if this community were to be a place of some consequence, it needed an institution of higher education. So those 8 people came together and put up the funds to found what was called Jefferson Seminary, and Jefferson Seminary was the beginning of the University of Louisville. We were a private school until 1970. 1970, we came into the state system, but in 1970, when we came into the state system, we were just another mouth to feed. We had programs that needed to be funded, expensive programs, medical schools, dental schools, law schools, engineering schools, and all those schools were at the University of Kentucky. But it was in 1997, with the Post-Secondary Education Reform Act of 1997, that that all of higher education was given a clear statutory mandate. And the mandate given to all of higher education in Kentucky in 1997 is that we have a public agenda. It's our job in higher education to do everything that we can do through our teaching, through our education, through our research, through our community outreach, to improve economic opportunity and the quality of life for the people of our state. That's the public agenda that we all have. And the University of Louisville was given a very specific statutory mandate. It is in the law. It is still in the law. We are to be a premier, nationally recognized metropolitan research university. And when we think about that statutory mandate and think about premier, what that means to us is an unrelenting commitment to quality and excellence. Not being the biggest, but being the best. Not being all things to all people, but what we do as well as we can possibly do. And so that's what has driven us over the last decade at the University of Louisville. And the video talks about some of the progress that we've made. How have we made that progress? We made that progress through partnerships. As I say, I'm an economist. And just like Scotty Davenport, I need a good point guard, and I need a power forward, and I need somebody that can come off the bench. So we look for people who blend together as a team. And when we're trying to move the university forward, as was mentioned in the video, partnerships can help us move forward and prove that 1 + 1 is greater than 2. 1 + 1 can be 4 and 5. And so whether it's residence life or whether it's food services, there are other people who do those things better than we do them. Our job is to create new knowledge and to educate students. And that's what we're good at. And so we need partners then to fill in the blanks and to help us be part of our team and to be able to do all the things that we need to do to be successful. One of our mandates is to be a major research university, to create new knowledge. And our focus is translational research. That is research that makes a difference in the quality of lives of people, whether it's in the areas mentioned in the video, heart care, cancer, whatever it may be, helping people walk again. And so our focus is on taking our research from the mind to the marketplace. And we're good at the research, but we need businesses to help us with that entrepreneurial spirit, take the research that we do and move it through the process to commercialization into companies that are growing and thriving. And so we're excited about our partnership with Signature Healthcare and our partnership with Nucleus, which is part of the University of Louisville. So this is what we're about at the University of Louisville, trying to move this community forward and move this state forward through our teaching and through our research and through our outreach. We know that there are certain things that we can do, but there are things where we need partners. So we look at partnerships first and most simply as it's part of our job to move this community forward. Secondly, there are partners that can do things that we can't do, and we need to recognize that and to work closely with those partners. Thirdly, we understand that making partnerships work takes effort. It doesn't come easy. We all have different organizations. We all have different things that we have to do every day. And sometimes our cultures may be a little bit different. But the key for us in successful partnerships is keeping our eye on the ball and the end game and what it is that we're to do. And then we can work through those issues and negotiate through those issues and make the partnerships happen. And I guess the final point I would make is that forced partnerships, they don't work. The Council on Post-Secondary Education in Frankfurt has tried to force partnerships on colleges and universities and say, well, you all do these things together. The partnerships that work best are the partnerships that bring value to both of our organizations. They're win-wins, and they're good for both of us. So we at the University of Louisville are excited to be your partner and to be able to work with you and to help you as an organization, because by helping you as an organization, we're really doing our job at the University of Louisville, and that is to improve the quality of life and economic opportunity for the people of our community. Thank you.